Hi there. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media in the year 2020. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman out there is
Eric Zandona in Vancouver, Washington.
Eric, and I have been social distance drinking. Wow, there's another hashtag. Social
Yeah,
distance
yeah.
drinking. Wow, hashtag social difference drinking. Um, this is Toro de Lidia. Now, this is we have been dissecting. This is probably older stock because you might notice, Eric, that the logo and the bottle and the
Yeah.
font is much larger than
Hmm.
some of the other iterations.
Yeah.
Um, as you can see, it is considered kosher,
Yeah.
and that's a plus. I'll have to say and it's coming out of the same distillery as Rejon. These all come. It's a very small distillery. I think only their brands come out of there. Um, and it is known 1531. So let's
Hmm.
pop. We just broke the seal on this extra añejo. The knob reminds me a little bit of the. They used to have Espolon before
Yeah.
Campari bought it. It reminded me of the
Yeah.
same Espolon bottle, and you can see
They got
on
the
the
bowl.
the bowl is emblazoned on the wood stopper.
Touch the
It's a
left.
synthetic cork. Um, so let's pour this sucker. I'm using a Glencairn, and so is Eric. So let's
Hmm.
see what we got. Have you noticed, Eric, that the colors have been very similar to the Repo, the Añejo, and the Extra?
Yeah,
There's
the
very,
color
very
difference
little.
has been very minimal. Actually, this one is mine's a little bit hazy. The others have been
Yeah,
really
mine too.
bright and clear.
Yeah, that was a bit disconcerting. It's hazy.
I wonder. I wonder if it's. I mean, it's possible that means it's not chill filtered. Because I know it's been really cold here in Washington. I know you said it's warm where you are.
Yeah, but I always keep because of where I live. I live in Texas, and
Yeah.
and I try not to keep anything. Everything's got to stay at room temp.
Yeah.
So, if you live in Texas, or if you live like in San Antonio or somewhere like Houston, you understand how this weather works. February, my tree is already full of leaves. Okay, spring comes early in Texas.
Yeah.
By the end of February, you have blossoms and blooms everywhere. Pollen is up the wazoo, and I have a huge oak tree in my yard, in my front yard, that's that direction. And so I'm getting fresh green leaves everywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, and so there are days where I run my air conditioner in the wintertime and my heater at night. Okay, so it the temperature variations are a lot. So I keep all my stuff at room temp. I keep it in the
Okay.
house. So, but yeah, I agree with you. Looking at this right now, it poured very hazy,
Yeah.
and
So
that's
whatever they're
weird.
doing, I don't think they're filtering it.
Okay, well, that's a demerit as far as I'm concerned. When you look at sight, when you look at, when
Yeah.
you look at the when you're judging on looks, because that
Yeah.
is part of the judging criteria.
Now, if
Uh,
it was
to,
unfiltered and say like cask strength, say it was like 58 or something, well, they're like, oh, okay, then you can kind of understand.
well,
But
yeah,
this is
but wouldn't
40.
you say that for Scotch though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But so what I was getting to earlier about the chill filtering is that chill filtering basically causes the remaining fatty acids in the distillate to collect and then drop out, and you can filter them out, and so it looks clear even when the spirit gets cold. So that's what my thought was, because I've been to a craft whiskey distillery in New York in the wintertime, and all of his whiskey had this like cloudy look to it
Uh
because
huh.
he didn't filter it. He didn't chill filter it. And so when it got really cold, all those like things started to collect, and so it got slightly hazy. It doesn't really affect the flavor, it just affects the look. So maybe that's what's going on. But anyway, it's just something that I noticed right away.
Yeah, well, me too. And I thought maybe my glass was dirty, but I just washed it before
Yeah,
we
I
came.
know.
Yeah. Anyway, Pretty Lakes and Tears. You
Yeah.
know, very very common looking legs and tears. The nose, I don't know about you, but my nose is very dried fruit or almost not even so much dry as like cherries and
Yeah, yeah. There's a note. There's like slightly like dry cherry note there, but I'm getting a lot of wood char. So this extra añejo is aged 100% in ex-bourbon barrels,
okay.
and so I think that's that's the dominant. This reminds me a lot of, bourbons that are coming out of like really intensely charred barrels, or even like some Tennessee whiskeys because they're filtered through charcoal before they get aged. And so they pick up this like char like character sometimes.
Well,
So there,
right in the center, I'm getting a lot of that. That
but there's some red fruit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a plum, like a dried, like dried plums or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, this reminds me a little bit of Evan Williams bourbon has this like really bright sort of cherry character to it.
Okay.
Reminds me, or like Maker's Mark a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but that's really what. So again, this is what we talked about with the other aged expressions. Getting a lot of barrel, not a
Not a
lot.
whole lot of anything else. Yeah. Well, let's taste it. What the heck? Let's find out what's up with this. Mm, mm, mm. Oh. Mm. Lots of fruit on that retronasal. Plenty of fruit.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's actually less intense than the nose. I feel like the nose is really like there's a lot of char character to it,
Mhm.
which kind of subliminally suggests that maybe it's going to be really intense or harsh on the palate, like a bourbon might be, but it's not. It's really soft on the palate. Get a lot of like orange blossom, like something really light and floral going
Mhm.
on, which is kind of surprising given how intense the nose was. Um, a little bit of caramel, like very, very light. Um, but again, it has the same issues that we discussed before with the other aged expressions. Interesting barrel character, but all the agave is gone.
It's almost one-sided. It now that we've gone through this whole line, and you said that the barrel management has been very deliberate.
Yeah.
So I guess we can surmise from everything else that we've tasted that it's leading more toward the guys who are oak heads,
Yeah.
bourbon guys. Like you said, the nose on this is similar to an Evan Williams or a Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
It's not complex. It's just very one-sided. It's very single-faceted,
Yeah.
uh, one-dimensional, as we say.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when it comes to agave in and of itself, if it's done well, has these beautiful characters. I
Yeah.
mean, the Blanco was spectacular. The Blanco, and even then, we wanted it heightened a little bit, maybe at a higher ABV. But it was okay. It was
Yeah.
the agave was there. But the rest of this line is, I think that's what it is, Eric. I think that
Yeah.
they have deliberately gone the other direction
Yeah.
from Rejon. Rejon's like way over here for the agave lovers, okay?
Yeah. Like us.
And yeah, us, right. And then this line goes directly, does not pass go, does not collect $200. It
Yeah.
goes directly to the guys who are oak heads.
Yeah.
That's it. It's probably everybody. Maybe that's why they are primarily in Texas, because everybody out here is bourbon. It's bourbon country.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But by the same token, I have had tequilas made for the Tennessee whiskey market and the bourbon market that are so well made, that the owners, the brand owners, are based in that area.
Yeah.
And even though they lean in that direction, the agave still shines through. I can name those brands if you want me to, but so to me, there's no excuse except for the fact that maybe Texas has completely lost its palate and says, "Here, chew on this."
Right.
I don't know.
I think you may be onto something in terms of, they have an idea of a market that they're trying to reach. And I mean, that's a hard question for any brand, right? You have an idea. What are you trying to make? Are you trying to make something that is, the best thing that you can do, or is it the best thing that your consumers like? Sometimes those aren't the same thing. And so I think, like we said, the evidence from what's in the glass is, I feel like they're being very intentional. So I think you're right that they may be going for that Jim Beam drinker or that Jack Daniels drinker that's like, they try this instead, somehow, some way, and they're like, oh yeah, that's not bad, and they like it because it doesn't have that intense agave character that we enjoy, and so it's a little bit more familiar. Maybe that's what they're going for, and the smoothness of all of these, right? There's like no burn, like the spirit, like proofing, the distillation, all high quality. So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe this is their attempt at a conversion product, right?
Okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. And yet, it's supposed to be tequila,
right?
So which master are you serving? You know what I mean? I get it. This probably for them makes a lot more sense and money, being where they're at and who they're trying to impress. But to me, it's a single facet. I mean, if I wanted bourbon, I can go get Bullet Bourbon, Four Roses. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, Evan Williams at $10 a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I'm not wowed. I mean, the nose is beautiful, but it's still single faceted. I see what I'm used to getting in an extra añejo is like what we got with Rejon, the extra añejo.
Yeah.
Where you get that initial barrel note, but there's so much more. Right. The layers and the complexity were so there, and that's what I'm used to getting in an extra añejo, agave based. Okay, whether it's tequila or mezcal. I don't even know if they make a mezcal extra añejo. Well, I've had mezcals.
Doug French has some.
Yeah,
that are incredibly
old. Scorpion makes stellar stuff. And the Scorpion line that's at a higher ABV is even better. Yeah. We tasted. They sent us a whole entire line. It was amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But still one-sided. I wouldn't, as a tequila guy and tequila aficionado, I wouldn't go out of my way to find this.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing I think if your theory is right, which it very well may be, I think they're on an uphill battle because it's going to be a hard sell, right? Because why would a bourbon drinker spend $50 on a bottle of this extra añejo when they could spend 20 or 25 on their favorite brand of bourbon and be perfectly happy? And what tequila drinker is going to buy this and be a repeat customer and be like, oh, I was really wowed by that because there was no agave in the tequila. So, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
think
I do know
so.
what you mean.
It's just like I think your theory might be right, but I don't think they've executed it well enough because there's no reason for either of those drinkers to buy this product. If the bourbon drinker happened to have this placed in front of them, they would probably drink it and be happy,
Yeah.
but they're not going to go buy it, right?
I can't even call this a gateway because it's not
Right.
necessarily, you know, who, let's put it this way. It's not, it's almost like a, when you try to sell stuff online, you put stuff out there and it's putting it out there, but it's not converting.
Right.
I don't see where this would convert those guys.
Yeah.
In the past, when Herradura was the first one to age their tequila in a Jack Daniel's bourbon, and they
Yeah.
converted the Jack Daniel's people. That
Yeah.
was what it was for. There's no, I don't see a conversion. I don't see a conversion with this. It's sad to say that, but it's there.
Yeah.
You can get it, but I wouldn't go out of my way for it.
Yeah.
That's just I would look for this baby all day long.
Yeah.
Find the truck and just back up the. But on this one, yeah,
Yeah.
and we found off camera we found a price point for the reposado, and I got to the point where I said, you know what, spend a few extra bucks and go with Rejon.
Yeah.
So either way, that's our take on Toro de Lidia Extra Anejo. You have been listening and watching to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That young man out there is
Eric Zandona in Vancouver, Washington.
And whatever you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, please download those podcasts. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like this video, and whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.